Hello 2021! How's it going? I hope you are all safe and adapting to this new reality. I'm Maria Czech and this is the Agile State of Mind 2021 edition. Welcome back! First of all, I wanted to thank you for your views and subscriptions. It means a lot to me. I'm also delighted to read and respond to your comments. Thanks for keeping me going. So I wanted to start this year's edition with the topic of remote work. Do you think this is gonna be a remote-friendly year? After 2020, we could assume so, right? Yet most of the companies still hope to survive the remote and go back to the office. Hence, the company policies are not really remote-friendly. We just do what we used to do in the office, but remotely. And what's the biggest pain while working from home? The meetings, of course. And Scrum has always been accused of creating too many meetings. Imagine all of them now, plus many more, due to the lack of the water cooler moments and the typical catching someone on their way to the bathroom and asking them all of your questions. This is why today we will explore what are the 10 steps to a successful remote meeting. Let's start! In Spain, there is even a term coined for the overload of meetings, reunionitis, as if it were a disease. I'm sure all of you suffered from it at some point. So what's the problem with the meetings? Some time ago, I got invited to a meeting by a colleague I never interacted with before. The meeting title was about some survey results for QA chapter. I thought I was invited by mistake, so I ignored the invitation. 10 minutes before the meeting, the organizer asked the participants if we were going to join. Only then did I realize that I was invited on purpose. But like others, I didn't RSVP because we all had no idea what it was about. On top of it, the meeting was scheduled on a sprint end day, and all the other participants were product owners. And nobody had the time or mental energy to join yet another meeting. So finally we joined this remote meeting and all possible problems began. The host couldn't share the screen. The manager who insisted on having the meeting didn't show up. Neither did half of the POs invited. A quarter of an hour later, after a chit-chat about nothing, the organizer of the meeting finally explained its objective. But due to the lack of quorum, the meeting got postponed, and this is how we spent half an hour of our time switching our focus from our daily routine and failing to assist some team meetings just to find out there will be no meeting. Ironically, the meeting that didn't happen was about sharing the concerns of QA chapter, who reported having too many meetings and little time to focus. And this shows how we create waste. Think lean. We spend a lot of time in meetings. We should spend a little bit of this time thinking if they are actually productive. So now let's see how to optimize those meetings. There are technological companies out there that have completely distributed teams. Think Basecamp or GitLab, and currently also OutSystems, where I work. To learn more about their practices, you can check out bootcamps How We Communicate and GitLab's The Remote Manifesto. And now let's see those 10 steps I compiled to create a remote-friendly meeting. 1. Start with a basic question. Does it have to be a meeting? At Basecamp, they state meetings are the last resort, not the first option. So, ask yourself, could this be an email or a collaborative document instead? Let's go back for a moment to the meeting I explained before about the QA survey results. The results could easily be shared before in a collaborative document with an option to comment on them. Confluence, Google Docs, Dropbox Paper, there are many tools that help achieve it. This way we could read the survey before and state our comments and ideas. And everyone could do it when it best suits them. And in the end, we could meet briefly just to decide on the next steps. Sometimes there could even not be a need for this additional meeting because everything could be decided and described in the document. 2. Scheduling a meeting. So If despite of all my previous advices you still think the meeting is a must, then think about the maker's schedule. Read the short essay from Paul Graham, Maker's Schedule, Manager's Schedule, and decide when to best schedule the meeting. 3. Have a clear goal. Think about why the meeting needs to take place and make sure everybody understands it. Enable everybody in your teams to feel free to ask, what is the ultimate goal of this meeting? This is a rule written in our OutSystems cultural book, the small book of the few big rules. It is really handy. You can use a simple template. The purpose of this meeting is, and here we need an action, to define, create, decide, agree on, generate, followed by an outcome. Example, the purpose of this video about remote meetings is to equip you with tips, tools, and techniques to drive more productive and successful remote meetings. 4. 2-pizza team rule. This goes for both the offline and online meetings. If you require an active participation, decrease the number of participants. Jeff Bezos has this rule of 2-pizza team. So basically, the more participants you have, the more opinions you will hear, and more difficult it will be to draw some conclusions and arrive to some agreements at the end. Yet, sometimes it's unavoidable to have a little crowd on your meeting. Then, let's check the 5th rule of how to engage participants. First of all, break the ice. Remember the video about Agile retrospectives? It said that if you engage everyone at the beginning, there is more possibilities they will participate later on in the meeting. Ask participants any question, like, how are you feeling today? Or where in the world are you? Or where in the world would you rather be? And ask them to write it in the chat at the same time. You can also use a tool like Mentimeter or Slido, so everybody can see the responses there. 2. Explore your tools features. Zoom, Teams, whatever you use, they have quite a lot of features that help us engage the participant. You can ask yes or no questions and ask the participants to respond them. In Zoom, there is this participant section, and you can also ask them to use the emojis available on their screen. And 3, use digital whiteboards. Zoom and Teams have their own, or you can use Miro or Mural, where you have a whiteboard with post-its available. 6. Prepare for the meetings. In advance, share materials for the meeting and explain to the participants what you expect of them. Jeff Bezos forbids to present slides on the meetings and asks the organizer to share a 6-page memo instead. He explains the reason because writing a 6-page memo is harder than writing a 20-page PowerPoint is because the narrative of a good memo forces more thought and better understanding of what's more important than what. Good storytelling is easier to digest by our brains than hard data. Such narrative memos help the authors to fully communicate the thoughts behind their ideas, and the participants can easier grasp the why behind their concepts. Of course, for such a meeting to be productive, all the participants need to have read the memo. 7. Start with silence. At the beginning of the meeting, Bezos gives their participants up to 30 minutes to read the memos. Because this way we avoid people bluffing their way through the meeting as if they were teenagers, participating in a test they didn't prepare for. I know that this step might be an exaggeration, but at least you get an idea. 8. Write the meeting notes. Always do that. It doesn't matter if everybody is present. Sometimes we have so many meetings that we then forget what we even agreed upon. This may also decrease the need of another meeting, because you have a shared document again. You can always check what was decided and comment upon it in case you want to update the decisions. 9. Record the meeting. As hard as you may try to gather all participants at a particular hour, there might always be somebody absent. Cannot blame them. To mitigate that, just record the meeting and share the recording with all participants in an email and in the document along with the meeting notes. Last but not least, number 10. Upload the videos in the same place. This is a totally optional point, but I think it's a good idea to have a YouTube channel that is private or any other channel where you can actually upload the videos and afterwards you can gather some metrics. You can check if is anybody even watching those recordings. Maybe you don't advertise them enough. Then you can also check which recordings are most popular. This way you are able to make data-driven decisions. For example, if one of the videos of the all hands is especially popular, maybe it makes sense to add it to the onboarding of the newcomers, so they better understand the context of the company. And that's all for today. I hope the tools and techniques I shared will prove useful to you and your online meetings will become even more successful. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.